where every grain of dust hides a story, and every scar tells a truth forgotten by time. Tonight, we travel deep into the heart of the frontier, a land of blood, mercy, and choices that defy fate. This is the story of the Apache woman and the cowboy who defied the desert. So saddle up and don't look away, because not every outlaw rides for gold. Some ride for redemption. The sun was dying over the horizon, bleeding crimson into violet, as though the sky itself mourned. Through that painted dusk, she stumbled, an Apache woman, her breath shallow, her shoulder burning from a bullet wound that refused to close. In her arms, a child, pale, fragile, and trembling. His cries had faded into faint whispers long ago, yet she held him close, as if her heartbeat alone could keep his alive. Behind her, the wind carried echoes, voices of her own people shouting her name like a curse. Traitor, they had called her. Coward, you saved the enemy's blood. But she had not turned back. She had chosen mercy, and mercy had cost her everything. The desert stretched endlessly, every step sinking her deeper into its thirst. Her blood darkened the sand, marking a trail that even the coyotes refused to follow. By the time she reached the edge of Ash Hollow, her legs barely obeyed her will. Then she saw it, a faint flicker of firelight through the distance, a cabin, a chance, maybe a final one. She pressed on, each step a prayer, and when she finally reached the wooden porch, she knocked once before collapsing, her body folding into the dust. Inside, a man stirred, a cowboy, weathered by years of solitude. He'd long grown used to silence, the kind that burrows deep into your bones, until even your own voice feels like a stranger. He lifted his lantern and opened the door. There she was, a woman, bloodied, barely breathing, holding a baby no bigger than his forearm. His instinct whispered danger. His upbringing screamed hate. But something older than both, whispered, "No creature deserves to die slow." He left the rifle where it stood and bent down, lifting her gently into his arms. She was light, too light, as if the desert had already claimed half of her soul. He carried her inside. For hours, the small cabin filled with the scent of herbs, sweat, and smoke. He boiled water, cleaned the wound, tore strips from his own shirt to bind it. The woman drifted in and out of fevered dreams, faces of her tribe, her mother's song, and the baby's soft crying, all blending into one blurred prayer. When dawn came, she opened her eyes to see him sitting beside the fire, unshaven, exhausted, but steady as stone. He offered her water. She took it, her hand trembling. Neither spoke a word. It wasn't friendship, not yet, but something human had cracked open between them. Days passed. The fever broke, leaving her weak but alive. She learned his name, Elias Boone. And though he rarely smiled, there was a quiet kindness in his silence. At first, she feared him. Then she began to watch him, how he tended the baby with awkward care, how he shared his bread without hesitation. And sometimes, when he thought she slept, he would whisper to himself, things he never said aloud. Shoulda left town years ago. Can't bury another soul in this dirt. She didn't know what ghosts haunted him, but she could see them in his eyes. One night, she finally asked him, her voice hoarse from disuse, "Why did you help me?" He looked at her long and hard. Then he said quietly, "Because no one deserves to die alone." It was a simple truth, but in that moment, it became something sacred. The days grew colder. Winter winds began to creep through the cracks of the cabin. She healed, slowly, helping him with what little strength she had. fetching water, grinding corn, tending the fire. The baby, now stronger, would giggle when Elias whittled toys from scraps of pine wood. For the first time in years, laughter returned to that cabin. But peace, out here, never lasted long. Cue distant horse hooves, tension rises. One afternoon, a trader came by. He spoke of gossip, of a wounded Apache woman who'd betrayed her people by saving a white child. He said they were hunting her now. Elias didn't say a word, but his hand tightened around the rifle resting by the door. The trader left uneasy, and when he did, the woman, whose name was Naya, turned to Elias. "Send me away," she whispered. "They'll come. They'll kill you too." Elias only shook his head. "You're under my roof. That makes you mine to protect." The words broke her, not from fear, but from a kind of grace she'd never known. Days passed. The tension thickened like storm clouds. Elias cleaned his rifle, checked the fence, stacked firewood higher. And one dawn, they came. Shadows on horseback, painted faces, her people. Naya froze when she saw them through the window. Her breath caught. Elias stepped to the door, his hand calm, his stance unyielding. The tribe dismounted. Their leader called out, "That woman is ours. She betrayed her blood. Hand her over or die beside her." Elias didn't flinch. He leveled his voice. "She's under my roof. She's not yours to take." The words echoed across the valley. Neither side moved. Wind howled between them like a whisper of judgment. Then the first shot rang out. Chaos erupted. Bullets shattered wood. Fire burst from the porch. Elias pulled Naya and the child to cover, returning fire with calm precision. The baby cried. Naya screamed for him to stop. But Elias didn't hear, or didn't care. He was fighting for more than life. He was fighting for the promise he'd made. By dusk, the gunfire ceased. Smoke drifted across the hollow. And when the silence finally fell, so did Elias. A bullet had found his side. She dragged him inside, pressed cloth to the wound, sobbing words in both tongues, English and Apache. "Don't die, not for me, not for this." But he only smiled faintly. It was never about dying, Naya. It was about not running anymore. He gripped her hand. Then the firelight dimmed in his eyes. For hours she sat beside him, silent. When dawn came, she buried him beneath the old oak behind the cabin. The desert wind carried her mother's song, the same one she'd whispered to the child when hope seemed lost. She named the baby Eli. And when she left Ash Hollow, she carried him close, not as a curse, but as a promise. A promise that mercy, even in the Wild West, was stronger than hate. In a land where mercy was a weakness, one woman proved it could be her greatest strength. And though the desert claimed many names, some stories, like Naya's, never truly fade. If this tale of courage and redemption moved you, hit that subscribe button and ride with us again, right here on The Lost Wild West.